All right, welcome back, guys. We're continuing our rookie series. We're doing the quarterbacks. It's going to be our top 7 quarterbacks. If you go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com, you can see our previous episodes. Today's episode is going to be about Tanner McKee, the Stanford quarterback, and you can check it out on sportsgamblingpodcast.com, or you can go to SGPN Fantasy Football wherever you get your podcast. Here is Tanner McKee.
Yeah, and welcome in everybody to another episode of the SGPN Fantasy Football Podcast. And like Dave said, we are back in our mini series, back in our studio. And let me tell you, I'm just going to make a quick segue here. If you did not see the Sports Gambling Podcast studio on Twitter, you need to go check it out because Dave, we need one of those studios. Like, I need to move to you, or you need to move to me, and we need to say, hey guys, we need that studio now because it's pretty sick. But anyway, back off of that tangent. We're going to get right into Tanner McKee, the quarterback for the Stanford Cardinal. He comes in at 6'6", 230 pounds. So when you've heard us say, quote unquote, prototypical size for a quarterback, this dude is a big dude. This is Josh Allen big from a size perspective. I'm not comping him to Josh Allen. Maybe another Josh we'll get to later on, but definitely not Josh Allen. And when we talk about the production that Tanner McKee gives you, it hasn't been great, right? When you go back and you think to the last Stanford Cardinal that we talked about Davis Mills, right? A couple years ago, coming out of Stanford, very similar production in that standpoint. Never threw over 3,000 yards. He threw for 2,900 yards this year and only 13 touchdowns to 8 interceptions this season with a couple rushing touchdowns. You go back to 2021, very similar, 2,300 yards, 15 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. So again, another guy that comes in the total under that 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. So Dave, with that being said, what are the pros, cons, and player comps for Tanner McKee?
Yeah, and with Tanner McKee, I mean, you see right there, the size and the strength that's his first pro. 6'6", 230 pounds. This guy is a big quarterback. And he's not just a big quarterback. He's got a big arm to go with that big frame. And he uses it in the pocket. You see kind of like Big Ben where he's shrugging some guys off. He's hard to bring down in the pocket. And he also has the ability to make every NFL throw. Not everybody needs to have a Josh Allen arm, although that definitely helps. But you obviously need someone that's going to be able to make the throws outside the hashes, that's going to be able to make the throws down the field, and that the strength of his arm is not going to be an issue. And again, his size, you're looking for someone that can obviously see over the offensive line and be able to have a clear vision of the field. His pocket presence, again, sometimes he just stands in there and takes some shots, and it doesn't even look like it phases him. He's a big dude. And as far as the accuracy on the short and intermediate, that's where his strength is. And a lot of people, they see Stanford, they like the pro-style offense. They've seen some success with guys like Andrew Luck and Davis Mills. We don't have to worry about, has he ever been in a huddle? Has he ever been under center? He's done all those things. And so the idea is that he would transition well into the NFL because he doesn't have this huge learning curve that some of the other guys have. The problem is there are some cons. He doesn't elevate his team. You would expect somebody that is a top prospect, that is an NFL quarterback, to be able to at least get his team to be 500. He did not this year. His team was 3-9, and he played in all the games. And so that's a huge concern. The Pac-12 is not the SEC. It's not a terrible conference, but you would expect that the Stanford Cardinals would have a better year if they had someone that was, we'll say, a first-round caliber quarterback. And the reason I don't think he's a first-round caliber quarterback is mainly because of that. The other part of it, aggressive, we talked about it, Will Levis. These guys that have big, strong arms think that they can just do whatever they want. It's just not how it works. And in the NFL, it's going to be harder. NFL Open is a lot different than College Open. And really, the main difference is the guy's not open in the NFL. He's not open. And you got to throw the ball in a place that allows him to get open. And in, the college football, we see a lot of these plays where the guys are just wide open. Like the only guy that does that in the NFL is, Cooper Kupp and Justin Jefferson. As far as touch, another thing that's an issue, this guy throws a fastball. He needs to be able to have a changeup. He needs to be able to level the ball. We talk about layering it when you're throwing it over defenders to be able to add some touch to it. You also got to be able to throw the ball with enough air under it for the guys to track the ball and not just throw it to a spot as fast as you can.
Yeah, look, character is always a big thing as well, right? Does this guy have the characteristics? Is he a man? Is he going to come in here and is he going to be an adult, or is he going to be a 21-year-old punk kid, right? Is it going to be another Zach Wilson kind of situation, right? Which we'll get to when we talk about Jaron Hall later on. But I don't believe that's going to be an issue with Tanner McKee. I think he's going to come in and the dude's going to work, right? You got to think this dude gave up the first 2 years of his college career where he very well could have been a starter, maybe a sophomore year, right? Maybe he beats out Davis Mills. Who knows, right? But this dude forewent those 2 years as a starting quarterback to do a church mission, right? I think that talks a lot about his character, and it's something that tells me this dude's going to come in and he's going to want to perform for his team. He's going to learn. He's going to be open-minded. He's going to pay attention when the coaches tell him. So I think that's a really good characteristic to have when you're going into a situation where you're likely going to be drafted as a backup quarterback. So go ahead.
Yeah, so I have his projection to be a late day 2, early day 3 player. I mean, it just takes one team to fall in love with this guy or to feel like he's a good fit to get him into that day 2 conversation. But I just think he's so far behind the other guys that you're going to see him fall and possibly fall into day 3. And we'll see, that might get him into a better situation. We've seen that with some of these other guys. But it doesn't usually result in playing early. And maybe he's not ready to play early with all these turnovers and interceptions. Player comps are always hard. Everyone always has, everyone's drafting Hall of Famers in the first round. Well, I want to give him a fair comp, and I'm not slighting this player because I think this player was good at times in the NFL, and it's Josh Freeman, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Freeman, I got to see him play in person. I got to see him play a lot when I was in college. And Freeman was a good player, and he has a very similar build. And the way they throw the ball, the way they move, I just feel like there's a lot of similar traits. And if he does have a career like Josh Freeman, that's not as good for fantasy as if I said Ben Roethlisberger. But I do think that Josh Freeman is a ceiling kind of a comp for him.
I like it. And this series is brought to you by WynnBET. WynnBET is the official online sportsbook of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. WynnBET is active in a bunch of states, and there are tons of ways to win, including live betting and same-game parlays. The NFL playoffs are here, and they are running great promos, odds, and payouts that are happening right now at WynnBET. So if you're ready to play, sign up today and receive our special offer of bet $100, get $100. That is limited to state availability. And of course, if you hit the biggest long shot parlay of the week, you'll also get $1,000 free credit. There are so many things to choose from. All you have to do is head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET so they know we sent you. Again, that's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. Offer is subject to change. Terms and conditions at WynnBET.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough WynnBET is available. If you're someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.